What's happening, everybody? 10:03 on the Fan. It's the Tiki and Tierney Show. We're good. We are ready to go, ready to wrap up what's been a pretty busy week inside of our Town Fair Tire studio here. And I got to tell you, Teak, now listen, we have a lot of things to get to today. Going to be bouncing around really every sport. Something struck me, though, yesterday with Robert Saleh gushing over Derek Carr. I mean, gushing over him. I mean, platitude after platitude. First of all, it's a little much, man. It's a little bit much when you're also pursuing somebody else.
Yes.
Which they are.
But we don't have an indication, as I've said every day for the last 2 weeks, maybe 5 weeks, that Aaron Rodgers has given no indication that he wants to be a Jet. So Robert Saleh's got to look out for himself.
Got to play both hands. I understand that it's a delicate dance, and let's face it, eventually we need an answer, and eventually the Jets and the Packers need their answers, and obviously Derek Carr. See, but As he waxes on about Carr's ability and the placement of the football and then his IQ and by the way, all those things are pertinent. Derek Carr, as we know, is a very good player. See, to me, that was less about talking about Derek Carr, though literally that's what he was doing. To me, it was more about speaking to Aaron Rodgers. Yo, we like this guy. We like this guy, Derek Carr. He's good. He's a good fit. And if you don't get off your ass and tell you what your intention, and tell us, meaning Rodgers, what your intentions are, we're moving on to Carr. I thought he was talking to Rodgers.
Yeah, he may have been, because it's starting to feel like the options for Aaron Rodgers are shrinking significantly, almost to the point where it's Packers, Jets, or you're not playing. Packers, Jets, or you're not playing. So not that he has this urgency, Aaron Rodgers, but the Packers do, because we know the Packers are ready to move on from him. The Jets have to start feeling some sort of Zach Wilson can't be the starting quarterback going into the season. We've said that a million times. But if you miss on if Aaron Rodgers stays with Green Bay and you miss on Derek Carr, because I heard yesterday that the New Orleans Saints are about to offer him a contract.
Somebody's going to offer something soon. He's been on 3 visits.
Somebody's going to do it.
Yep.
And he's currently, or his people are still currently in Indianapolis right now. Presumably, that's what they're doing. They're talking about contracts. We know what the number is, $35 to $40 million, which is more than fair for a guy who's been a starter for almost a decade in the NFL and been pretty good. He's not elite, but he's been pretty good. It's what the going rate is. There's an urgency now for the Jets, and this is what I think Robert Saleh is doing. It's less about talking to Aaron Rodgers. It's more about saying, Derek Carr, don't sign anywhere, because I need you. Well, obviously, we need you as a team, but I need you, because if we are stuck with the C options, Jacoby Brissett, et cetera, Baker Mayfield, or Zach Wilson, I'm going to lose my job. So I think he's talking more directly to Derek Carr, saying, give us time to make you an offer, because I need you to be my starting quarterback.
You know, it's funny because I think that we're both onto something here. I do think that that's why I use the term delicate dance, because you're trying to, I don't want to say keep Derek Carr at bay, but you're trying to prevent him from signing.
You're trying to play both sides.
Yeah.
And it's hard. And I don't want to say it's dangerous, because
No, it's dangerous.
What happens if
it's
it
dangerous.
happens? But it is dangerous.
It's dangerous, and it's really hard when you're dealing with a different type of personality like Aaron Rodgers. You're trying to read somebody, and nobody knows what this guy's thinking. I'll tell you what. I'm going to sit. It's Friday now. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. You know where I've stood from day one. All in on Rodgers. Derek Carr, choice 2. I will run the risk of losing Carr to give myself the best option and the best chance to get Rodgers. But Sunday night, this is it. I mean, this is my line of demarcation. Honestly, you've got to have boundaries.
After the Knicks beat up on the
Knicks
Celtics.
waxed the Celtics by 17 points, and Jason Tatum goes 8 for 23, and Jaylen Brown's 1 for 8 from downtown, I will come to the full realization that that's it. If we go through a full weekend after the combine wraps up, all right, combine's going to be over. I won't say nobody cares, but right now for the purpose of this, I don't care about defensive ends running 4.4. I know there's a sick array of athletes out there. I don't care about the combine. I care about the news that emits from the combine. And enough of the smoke screens, enough of the I'm going to go on a podcast for 2.5 hours and tell people nothing just to string you along. If I don't know by Sunday night what Rodgers' intentions are. I'm 1,000% out on Rodgers, and I'm going to pivot. It's pivot time.
Finally.
To Derek Carr, but I'm not there yet.
Finally.
But I told you.
You're getting to where I've been telling you should have been 2 weeks ago.
But I'm getting there on a very different timeline.
Yeah.
There's a calculation of the odds. There's a manipulation of the timeline. And then there's just being straight up stupid.
Yeah.
And I think if the Jets, and they won't do this, I trust them here. If the Jets allow this to seep into next week without a peep from Rodgers met with the Packers, so-and-so reporting, Rodgers really views the Jets. He likes it without a shred, a speck, a modicum of intel, then the Jets are out of their minds.
Yeah. Because
they've got to eventually move on.
You know what's going to happen next week, BT, because even though it's not the start of the league year yet, that doesn't happen until March 15th, and the legal tampering is March 13th. Once the franchise tag starts to become clear, what teams are going to do with their available money, if they have any, to franchise, it starts happening. Deals will start.
It's dominoes.
Deals will start getting leaked.
Yeah.
This guy is going here. This free agent signing here. And Derek Carr, the last thing Derek Carr wants to be is caught up in that. Is caught up in the franchise news. He needs to make his decision probably before Tuesday. What is it? 4:00? Tuesday at 4:00 is the deadline. I guarantee you he's going to start getting offers over the next couple of days. We know the Saints are ready to do it. We know Carolina loves them.
I push back on that. You and I disagree on that a little bit. I think that Carolina could go with a combo of Darnold and a draft kid.
Yeah, maybe.
I do. I'm not sold on him going to Carolina.
The
Saints, you got to worry about.
I just know Frank Reich needs, because we saw what he's doing in Indy.
Yep.
He wants a competent quarterback that he can trust and believe in. And the last thing he needs, reputationally, this is Frank Reich in Carolina right now, is to take another flyer on a maybe. He took a flyer on a maybe in Carson Wentz, didn't pan out. Took a flyer on a maybe with Matt Ryan at the end of his career, didn't pan out. He's going to take a flyer on Sam Darnold. I mean, I don't know. I think he wants someone who's a viable starter who can be really good, and they have a good offense down there and a good team, really. They just were poorly coached and managed and everything else over the last couple of years. I think Frank Reich is more interested in Derek Carr than we even know. But regardless of that, we know the Saints are all in because they got to move on from Jameis Winston. I know he's got another year on his deal, and he's probably going to be a post-June 1 cut, but Jameis is not the answer in New Orleans, and that division is wide open. I think Derek Carr is going to start getting offers really, really soon, and the Jets, this is why Robert Saleh saying this, has to show his interest, deep interest, because if they miss on Derek Carr and Aaron Rodgers is just floating in the wind and never coming here, where are the Jets?
It's a spot that is not most desirable, put it that way. Very low on the list for the Jets and very low for us. Untenable for many. 877-337-6666. Hopefully everybody's having a good start to their Friday. We'll get to the Kane stuff, the debut. Tough one for the Rangers, but the place was popping. Knicks tonight. That's going to be fun. A little baseball stuff for you as always. Listen, too, to me, part of the reason, and I know a lot of people have been confounded by my stubbornness, perhaps. How deeply and how strongly I've dug in on the pro-Rodgers pursuit.
Yeah.
Okay, I get that. That's confounded many. That's fine. That's been my opinion. That's not a shtick. That's not to be contrarian. That's what I believe is best for the Jets. But also, part of the fuel behind that patience during this process has been, for me, the strong conviction that, all right, even if you miss on Rodgers, and while waiting for Rodgers, Carr goes elsewhere, Ryan Tannehill's going to be waiting for you. And Ryan Tannehill's not going to be waiting for him.
No.
Looks like Ryan Tannehill's going back to Tennessee.
Yeah, it looks like Tennessee wants to continue to develop Malik Willis, who they drafted last year, who's not even close not even close to being ready. And if they lose Ryan Tannehill, then they're stuck starting a young player. They could end up like the Jet situation, where you have a guy who's just not ready to be a starter. And you total a year. It's just a dead year. That's the last thing that the Titans want. It's the last thing Mike Vrabel wants after a really good start to his coaching tenure. Really, he's not even a start now. He's been, 5 years, 6 years?
Oh, yeah.
So Ryan Tannehill looks like he's going to stay in Tennessee because they don't have any better options either.
And I always thought, and, Teague would try to torment. He'd always get to the Jacoby. Yeah, I saw you slip that in before Jacoby Brissett. I heard you. But, to me, that was never even an option, and it's still not, obviously.
No, it's not a desirable one.
No, it's like I said, we riot. If it's Carson Wentz or Jacoby Brissett, we riot, okay?
Definitely if it's Carson.
That's for sure. That's. I mean,
I might riot for you. I might join that one.
Yeah, I don't want to start anarchy here, but we would riot. Something bad would happen. But I also was, working under the assumption that, and this was a little more. I was more okay with this than most Jet fans. Like, all right, if you miss on Rodgers, you miss on Carr. Yeah, I can go with Tannehill for a year or two as a little bridge. Try to rehab Zach Wilson, Mike White, whatever. And I knew that they'd be or I strongly thought and think that with Tannehill, they'd still be a playoff team. And I was okay with that more so than a lot of Jet fans. I'm not okay with the Brissetts and the other options that would lead to a real visceral reaction. So Sunday night, that's it. If I don't know by Sunday, I promise I'm coming in on Monday, and that's it. I'm done with Rodgers. Get off the pot. Let us know what the deal is. Stop being a diva. Stop going on shows to tell us what you might do. Just tell us what you're thinking, okay? 877-337-6666. All right, Teague, let's get Mike and Linden first up. Mike is on the fan. What's happening, Mike?
What's happening, Mike?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Yo.
I had a question, really. Worst case scenario, the Jets miss out on all these guys, and I mean, you mentioned Tannehill, Baker Mayfield. I'd rather keep Mike White, and my real question is, how much can he improve just by being starter from day one in training camp, as opposed to coming in week 6 and kind of chucking the ball? I mean,
getting a chance, basically, Mike. He didn't get a chance last year.
It's an interesting thought.
He wasn't even in the conversation last preseason.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I mean, those young kids. I mean, I think he could be good. I mean, he's almost like a Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, if he stays healthy, he's good. But the problem is he gets hurt. I mean, if you're going to go out and give $35 million to Tannehill or one of the, I'd rather just keep Mike White for maybe 15 and sign some other players around him to protect them.
Well, Mike, think about by the way, they very well, if they do that, they very well might do, or probably will use the 13th overall pick on a big beast offensive lineman.
Yeah.
So, and you got Elijah Vera Tucker coming back, so that would be solidified up front. Here's the only thing, Mike. It's actually you lay it out fairly logically.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is, though, men in that building are fighting for their jobs.
Yeah.
And you cannot give the keys to your future to Mike White. It's reckless.
I think
not enough evidence he's going to get you where you got to go.
I think you're right. Is it the best worst case scenario? Maybe.
The best worst case scenario.
So I'll think worst case
I know what
scenario.
you're saying.
You don't get any of these guys.
I think Baker's a better option.
That's so I'm asking this as a question, not as
Baker.
a statement. Is it the best worst case scenario? Mike White as the guy?
No, it's Baker.
It's
Baker.
I tend to agree, but a Baker signing would create a very awkward quarterback room. Now, not that matters. That's Nathaniel Hackett's issue or Calabrese. I think he's still the quarterback coach, correct?
I think he's gone. I think Calabrese is gone. I'm pretty sure he's gone.
So, whoever the quarterback coach is, it's going to be his issue because I think Zach will handle it well. Baker will because he's the consummate whatever teammate at this point, whether he's the starter or the third string quarterback. Baker's kind of seen it all in a very quick amount of time.
Yeah.
Went from being the man to being, the street clothes guy on the sideline.
Humbled.
The Clipberg.
Humbled.
He got humbled. So
yeah, he did.
I think Baker will be fine. It's just a matter of managing the expectations of that room. And I think it would be hard. I think Baker would be hard, even though it probably is the best worst case scenario.
Calabrese is still there? Is that true?
I'm on the Jets website.
Yep.
There's a list of assistant coaches. He's the quarterback's coach.
Okay, there you go. My mistake. I think that, Baker would be fine, but that's a dynamic that could be combustible.
Yeah.
You've got two young bucks trying to reboot their career in the same room, fighting for the same scrap. Now, that's either going to, someone's going to emerge really, really good.
That's to say, in theory, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's almost what you want.
Yeah.
Or they're both going to be broken and busted.
But it's what I want at a running back. Or,
yes.
Or,
yeah, I know what you're saying.
Or linebacker.
Yes.
I don't want that at my quarterback.
Not as the quarterback spot. That's not good. Eddie's in Brooklyn. What's happening, Eddie? How are you?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Hey.
What's up, dude?
I just want to talk a little bit about Aaron Rodgers, and I think from my point of view, thing a lot of the people are missing here is the guy doesn't really want to be here. He's about the cash right now. He's got no desire to be here. The Jets are going to have to sacrifice draft picks when they're building a great team right now.
That's the other thing. Ed, that's the other thing we're not thinking about. I know BT, and I tend to agree with you. It's not going to cost as much as we think, but the cost of Aaron Rodgers is going to be something.
Yeah.
It's going to be something.
I know.
It's not going to be nothing.
Right.
In addition to what you're paying.
Do you think the difference between Derek Carr and Aaron Rodgers right now is worth all the draft picks and the future considerations you're going to have to give up to get a guy who's just using the Jets for the cash?
I do. But Ed, you're also making a huge assumption that Aaron Rodgers is passionless toward the sport of football and/or his craft. That's a big assumption. You say he's just using the Jets for cash.
Right.
To me, that implies that
he
he's got no
care.
professional pride. Come on, man.
I mean, when you listen to this guy talk, he's about himself at this point.
Everybody is at the end of the day. Everybody is.
You're right. Granted.
No,
Granted. At the end of the day,
BT's right. Everybody is. They just don't say it.
That's true.
Right.
That's right. That's
the
difference.
Aaron Rodgers is ambivalent towards anything. He's like, I'll play if I want to play. I don't know what I want to do.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
You're stringing people along.
I
I don't think the difference between him and Derek Carr is that great of a.
It's not a big gap.
Yeah. The guy's 39 years old.
I got you.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not alone.
Ed, he has earned that, though. And appreciate your call, dude. We got to take a break in a second. He has earned the right to craft what his next step
Aaron
is.
Rodgers has not earned the right to craft this narrative.
True. Especially if you're going to string the Jets along, you have not earned that right. But in the bigger picture of his career, he's earned the right to make this decision on his own time. The problem is this has affected a lot.
Well, time's ticking. Sunday, that's it. Get off the pot, make something happen. I'm done Sunday night.
We all know BT is the voice of the people, especially the voice of the
I'm not
Jets.
saying that. It's Joe Beningo. Stop.
So come Sunday, Jet fans, get off the Aaron Rodgers bandwagon.
877-337-6666. As I said, we'll do a little bit on the Rangers. Kane's debut, not what we were looking for, but the energy was awesome. Knicks, big one this time. Listen, everyone's a big one for the Knicks because now everybody's chiming in. That national commentary, Knicks, and a lot of it's favorable. A lot of people starting to ride this Knick bandwagon. We know who's on it first, all right?